You ever have those mornings where you walk into the shop and the air just smells like potential, and then you trip over a stray offcut of four-quarter white oak and realize your potential is mostly just gravity doing its thing?
Is that what happened this morning? Because your left boot looks a little more scuffed than usual.
I was just testing the structural integrity of the floor, Alex. It held, but man, speaking of things holding up, I was looking at the new gear coming out this week. My heart says buy it all, but my bank account is currently filing for a restraining order.
Well, before you bankrupt the TigerDen, let's talk about what's actually hitting the floor. We've got a lot to cover, from 9-kilowatt lasers to why everyone is suddenly obsessed with building data centers instead of condos.
It's a wild time to be swinging a hammer or firing up a torch. Let's dive into the heavy stuff first. Basic Metals is expanding, 42,000 square feet. That's not just a bigger warehouse, that's an ecosystem. For guys like me who are always hunting for decent stainless or aluminum that hasn't been backordered since the Nixon administration, this is huge news for 2027.
2027 feels like a long way off when you're mid-project, though.
True, but look at what we can get our hands on now. Trump put out a new 9-kilowatt true laser tube. 9 kilowatts. Alex, that's not a laser, that's a concentrated bolt of lightning. I remember when a 4 kilowatt was the big dog on the block.
For the non-metal heads, including a good chunk of our audience, why does that jump in wattage matter? Is it just about ego, or does it actually change the workflow?
Imagine trying to cut a steak with a butter knife versus a scalpel. When you're dealing with thick-walled structural tubing, the heavy-duty stuff that keeps buildings from becoming pancakes, the old machines would hum and huff and take their sweet time. This new rig just vanishes the material. It turns a 10-minute job into a 2-minute job.
So it's the ultimate procrastinator's friend. You can start the job on Friday afternoon and still make the deadline.
Exactly. But you have to be able to finish what you start. That's where this Wagner Sprint 2 system comes in. It's a powder coating setup, but they're pitching it on intuitive control.
Intuitive control. That sounds like marketing speak for, we added a touchscreen and charged $5,000 more.
You're cynical, but I like it. Actually, it's more about the ergonomics. If you've ever spent 8 hours in a booth spraying parts, your hand starts feeling like a frozen claw. This thing is designed to stop that fatigue. It's like the difference between driving a tractor and a luxury SUV. The result is the same. You get from point A to point B, but one leaves you needing a chiropractor and the other leaves you ready for a beer.
Let's pivot to the humans behind the tools. I saw the labor report from Construction Dive. They're saying the demand for new workers dropped to 350,000. Last year, it was 500,000. Should we be worried? Is the AI finally coming for the plumbers?
Not even close. It's a shift, not a collapse. It's like, okay, if the ocean recedes, you don't stand there complaining the water's gone. You look at the new tide pools. The tide pool right now is specialization.
Meaning you can't just be a guy with a wrench anymore?
You can, but you'll be fighting over the scraps. The real action, the surge, as they're calling it, is in high-level HVAC and electrical work. Why? Because of AI.
Wait, how does AI create HVAC jobs? I thought AI lived in the cloud.
The cloud is actually a giant windowless building in Virginia filled with servers that run hot enough to grill a steak from across the room. These data centers are popping up like mushrooms after a rainstorm, and they need cooling systems that are incredibly complex. If you can specialize in high-load industrial cooling, you're basically printing money right now.
It's the picks and shovels play. Don't build the AI, build the air conditioner that keeps the AI from melting down.
Spot on. And there's something else in the report that actually made me stop and take a breath. Organizations like the NABTU and Bechtel are really leaning into mental health and suicide prevention.
That's a heavy topic for a shop podcast, but a necessary one. The trades have had a tough it out culture for way too long.
Way too long. I've seen some of the best hands in the business burn out because they thought asking for help was a sign of a cracked weld. Seeing the big industry players treat a crew's headspace with the same importance as their hard hats. That's progress. It's about time we looked after our own.
Speaking of our own, let's talk business. The maker-mogul landscape is changing. People are moving away from the perfectly polished, filtered Instagram aesthetic.
Thank goodness. I was getting tired of seeing shops that look cleaner than a surgical suite. My shop looks like a sawdust bomb went off most days, and frankly, I think people find that comforting.
Right. The trend now is authority over celebrity. Look at someone like Dakota Ray Lowe. She's not just posting pretty pictures, she's bridging the gap between being a maker and a B2B professional.
It's about the messy middle. People don't just want to see the finished dining table anymore. They want to see the moment you realized you cut the mortise on the wrong side of the leg and how you fixed it without throwing a mallet through the window.
Which you definitely haven't done lately.
Hey, that window was already cracked. But seriously, the strategy for 2026 is multi-platform. If you're a welder, don't just post a photo of a bead on Instagram. Write a piece on LinkedIn about how that specific welding technique saved your client 20% on material costs. Show the brain behind the torch.
It makes you an expert, not just a hobbyist. It changes the conversation from how much do you charge to how can I get your expertise?
Exactly. Collaboration is the secret sauce this year. Find a local influencer, maybe a local interior designer or a landscaping guru, and do a joint project. It's not just for people selling makeup anymore, it's for the grease-stained and the callous too.
Okay, Tiger, let's get into the pure objective of the week. Minimalist outdoor kitchens, specifically concrete countertops. I've seen the tutorials, but it looks intimidating.
Concrete is a fickle mistress. It's heavy, it's messy, and it's basically a science experiment where if you get the ratio wrong, the whole thing turns into a giant, expensive cracker.
So why do we do it?
Because when you get it right, it's indestructible. It's the only surface that looks better as it ages. You want that five-star bistro vibe in your backyard? You go concrete. We've been watching the guys over at Start to Finish Build. They've got the process down to a science.
Give the listeners one pro tip that'll save them from a disaster.
The sealer. Everyone spends all their time worrying about the mold and the pour. But listen, once that concrete is cured, it's a giant sponge. If you're flipping burgers and a drop of grease hits unsealed concrete, that's not a stain. That's a permanent part of your home's history.
Or a map of the first barbecue of the season.
Use a high-quality, UV-resistant sealer. Outdoor kitchens are basically getting baked in the sun all day. A cheap sealer will yellow like a bad tooth in 6 months. Spend the extra $50 on the good stuff. Your future self, who isn't staring at a grease spot while trying to enjoy a mojito, will thank you.
It sounds like the theme of the day is really about leveling up. Whether it's moving from a 4 kW to a 9 kW laser, specialized HVAC training, or just finally sealing your outdoor counter.
It really is. The world is getting faster and a little more technical, but the core of it, the stuff that happens here in the shop, is still about the same thing. It's about precision, it's about taking care of the people you work with, and it's about having the guts to try a project that might actually fail.
And hopefully not tripping over any more oak offcuts in the process.
No promises there. My shins are a living record of my mistakes. But that's the deal, right? You keep the scars, but you gain the skill.
Well said. That's a wrap on the TigerDen Daily for April 16th.
Before we head out to the bench, think about which path you're taking today. Are you diving into a new specialization? Are you finally going to share your process with the world? Or are you just going to pour some concrete and see what happens? Whatever it is, do it right. Stay hungry, stay humble, and for heaven's sake, keep building.